You're listening to the Just Wins podcast, where we discuss winners, black bookers, and much more. Enjoy the show.
Can he do it? Chautauqua, he's flying! Yes! There's history!
But a champion becomes a legend! Makoni Debra's won it! The pride of Australia is the greatest show on earth.
Welcome back, Just Wins followers, to another edition of the Just Wins podcast. We're on podcast 4 on the Saturday, the 23rd of May, 2020. And how good was that introduction? Everyone get a load of that introduction that came through, and the mighty Chautauqua just bolting on the outside. How good. One of the great days.
So good.
So good.
Yeah,
anyways, I'm your host, Just Wins, and we've got Lee on the line. How you going, Lee?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. We've got over some technical issues and now we're back online, so I'm ready to get it going and listen to your tips. And we got Adam there on the line.
Hello, mate. How you going?
Yeah, not bad, mate. How's your line going?
Yeah, back going well. I think we're away and running now.
You're away and running. And how'd you go on the weekend, mate?
Yeah, mate. We had an okay day. We ended up getting a bit of profit finally, which was good. The best bet for twos got up, which quite an impressive, progressive little filly, that one. So happy to get a win finally. The other two, Handle the Truth, my best value, ran a resolute race, running fourth. Unfortunately, though, we just missed a third good place dividend by only a head or a neck or so. So unlucky. We're close. We just can't get those results over the line at the moment, but I'm sure they'll come eventually. And then we also had Girl Tuesday down in Adelaide. Less said about the ride on her, the better, I think. The little South African leprechaun didn't give us a good steer there, unfortunately. We'll leave that be.
He'll probably ride 4 this week after you said that. But yeah, it wasn't one of his best rides, and he got the punters on Saturday Slaughter. So you're not the only one there that came off the wrong end. And Lee, how'd we go in Melbourne at Flemington?
Oh, mate, Taylor Tate was scratchings. Unfortunately, had 3 scratched out of the 5 tips. So is what it is, but had 2 runners in the end, merited, didn't do much. And on face value was really poor. And then Miss Frost was really good. Did exactly what I thought it would. Got back to last and ran on strongly over the top. Another progressive sort of win. So she'll be onwards and upwards from here, I'd say. And that produced a little bit of profit. So happy about that.
Yeah, both of you in profit this week, and hopefully after the last 2 weeks of, you tipping a third emergency and then a couple of scratchings, Melbourne might deal with you a bit better this week and you might get a full set of runners. Yeah,
we'll see, mate, hopefully. And then what about you, mate? You had a good week?
Yeah.
On fire.
Wasn't too bad. I was around the mark in all of it. 9 is a power. I thought actually did better than its odds, just couldn't pick up Sopsigon. And then Exhilarates, it shortened into about $4 second favourite after tipping it at 7s, and did what I was going to do, get back and run on, and probably with 100 metres left, runs a bit closer. And then Nidorp got smashed from $4 into about 230 and was really, really brave, just run over quite late. So then we had Street Icon, same sort of thing, well back from $7.50 in the about $3.40 favourite, I think. Ended up running third. And then good old Trekking, I've only ever tipped him twice. Once was in the Stradbroke and once was in the Goodwood, and both times they've won. So I'm giving myself a fair old slap on the back there.
Well done, good mate.
He's been a good horse, and I do note that Lee liked him last week as well, but didn't want to have a bet. So
yeah,
up your bums.
Tatted it, mate. Exhilarates was a really good run, mate. I thought it was it probably got a bit further back than probably wanted to be from the gate, unfortunately, but its last furlong was awesome. So I was on as well, obviously, with your tip, mate, and I thought it was no chance of getting third or getting in the placings, and 200, 300 out from home, and she savaged the line. So she's definitely one to follow into this prep.
Yeah, and I think it's a credit to the Godolphin and Cummings team, because they've got horses everywhere with their all their strappers and whatnot travelling interstate, and they're all flying. So big credit and shout out to them, and I'm sure they've got plenty more around the corner to come. Any horses apart from Exhilarates to follow on for the coming weeks?
Not for me at the moment. I did want to just mention a jockey I feel is worth following for the punters. Up in Queensland, down southeast, we've got Luke Dittman. at the moment. And I've been following this guy last few weeks. He's really started to capture my attention. And yeah, he's a jockey that punters can really follow and get a good profit out of. He's got an incredible strike rate. And the thing about the strike rate, like we get a lot of jockeys who have good strike rates, but he tends to ride horses always at an each-way price. So we're getting a good chance at getting some profit out of him. So one to keep an eye on for sure.
Yeah, he gets some handy rides at the coast and doesn't often get the favourites, but when he gets on a good one, he gives them every chance. Lee, anything you want to follow?
Obviously, just Exhilarates from the weekend, but I've got one coming up in Flemington. I want to keep an eye on it because I think it's a genuine cup source. Not sure that they'll run it because I'll touch on this later, but it'll be a heavy track or it'll be wet anyway down in Melbourne. It's called Django Freeman. It'll be first up in Australia from Germany for Hickmont and looks a serious cup horse. Ran second in German Derby. Its 6 starts back home were excellent. 3 wins and 3 seconds, and it's just been solid in the market from $750 into $460 already from opening price. So it looks a genuinely good horse, and it's in the market for the Melbourne Cup as well. I was surprised. I thought probably looking at 50s or something like that, but it's between 26 and 31 with most bookies. So they've obviously got a bit of an opinion of it. So it's one to watch going forward.
Yeah, and I think it also helps with the Melbourne Cup market that probably half the field isn't coming this year. But yeah,
exactly right.
I think one of these imports will win something on debut. They just haven't been striking it lately, but that just goes down to if they've acclimatised or the conditions on the day. But I think for me, the only horse we need to follow is that Future West. Adam tipped in Sydney. I think they're going to have a crack at the Stratty, and with a lightweight, you got to give it a chance, especially in this field this year. It's not your quality Group 1 from yesteryear. So, stick with it. Let's go to Adam in Sydney. And what's the track plan there on Saturday, and what are your tips?
Yeah, mate, we're over at Royal Randwick this week. At the moment, it's in the soft range, and there was predicted showers tomorrow and Saturday. So I'm not sure how wet it's going to be, but I've been working off that it's not meant to be heavy rain. So I was hoping around a soft 7, heavy 8 at worst. So that's what I've done my form for. Randwick, rails out 6 metres. As we know, for Randwick, you can usually get a fair go as long as the race is run genuinely. So I wasn't too worried about looking for things on pace this week back at Randwick. But hopefully I've got a couple of tips today, and hopefully I can get 2 winners for us. I haven't got a best value this week. I have just got simply a best bet and then a next best. My best bet comes up in race 6, and that's number 10, Miss Einstein, for Bjorn Baker and Jason Collett. This mare has been really, really good in her first 2 runs back from a spell. Those who were on her last start would be counting themselves unlucky after she was checked really badly inside the final 100 when I think, in my opinion, she would have won the race. She comes into this now, 3rd up from a spell. She goes up 100 metres up to 1,500, which I think suits. She's by done deal. I don't think the wet track poses any problem. She has won on a heavy in the past, but again, with that good New Zealand blood in her, I think the wet track is actually a positive. Jason Collett sticks. She is going to get back, but as I said, Randwick, I feel we can get back, and this is a mare that's really strong late and should handle the conditions. So I think we can back her to win at around $3.80.
Yeah, that's race 6, Miss Einstein at $3.60, $3.80. And yeah, the backers last time they protested and it was dismissed. So hopefully they don't need one this time and it just wins.
Fingers crossed, mate. I think she looks very hard to beat. And then, as I said, my next best is actually in the first race, the 2-year-old handicap there. It is one that's just at each way value, but it's $6, so I'm not going to term it a best value because that would make me a fraud. So we're looking at race 1, number 1, not an option. First start for Richard and Michael Friedman. This colt was actually prepared by Tony Pike over in New Zealand. Tony had it in his name for its first 2 starts, both at Randwick, both at group racing level. We had a first up in the Kindergarten State. He ran quite a good race, albeit beaten a bit over 4 lengths. But the horse that beat him that day was Doubtland, who I feel is a potential star. I was very taken by its win. He ran quite a good race, and the only one other beat him home. And then second up, he ran in the Group 1 Champagne Stakes behind King's Legacy. He didn't get much room. He was beaten a bit over 5 lengths, but yeah, he was held up. He hit the line quite well, but I feel freshen up. He's had a trial since. He's got J-Mac on. I feel he'll like the wet conditions. Again, being a New Zealand bred, he's out of a Savabeel mare. He gets the blinkers on the first time. He's another one. He won't be up on the speed, but I expect him to settle midfield, maybe a little worse. And yeah, I think he'll be very strong late and very hard to hold out. And we can get each way odds around $5.50, $6 with $2 available for the place. So I think we can back him each way and get a collect there.
Yep. So that's your two bets only at Randwick, Adam.
That's all, mate. Just those two for me this
All
weekend.
right. So what we've got is best bet, race 6, Miss Einstein, about 360, 380 mark. And next best, we'll have this as an each way hope, is race 1, not an option, at $6 and $2. Thanks, Adam. And let's go to Lee down in Melbourne. Bit wet down there, mate.
Yeah, rain around. It's listed as a heavy 9 for Saturday back at Flemington. We'll see. Flemington's usually pretty good drainage-wise, but it's expected more showers on Saturday. So I'm expecting somewhere in between 7 and a 9, especially being Melbourne, mate. Anything can happen weather-wise. So I've done wet track form. I'm looking for horses that like getting through it rather than just handle it. So we'll see how we go. I've got 4 tips. I'm going to have a good crack. I don't mind the wet weather, mate. Like it on the heavy. So we'll get some winners here. Yeah. Don't we all? All right. First bet I'm going to have is in race 3. Right down the bottom, number 13, Miss Layla for Neville Parnham with Craig Williams on board. So we'll see how he goes. Drawn in 6, so should get a good run. I just feel like she's a really progressive sort of filly. This is a sort of race that you can get the sort of runners that can jump up a couple of benchmark ratings. There's not much between a 3-year-old at this time of year in a benchmark race from 1st down to 16th in order. So for me, ratings-wise, I'm not too worried that she's down the bottom. She's lightly raced and she's had some really good starts. Comes out of a really good second at Sandown on a soft 7 where she was 4 or 5 deep, no cover, midfield, and just sort of got beat close to the line. She was sort of headed off in the last furlong, fought really hard through the line. So I think it was a really promising run. Gets a way better barrier than this time. She had barrier 11 and 59.5 kilos on that occasion. And she was back. So that tells me that she was right. And they've got a bit of an opinion of her. In the start previous to that was on a heavy 10. So that ticks the box. Sat up close to the speed and he needed to be out wide on that day and at the back. And the winner, Shazad, came over the top of her, and she's come out and won since Shazad. So that backs the form line. There was 4 1/4 links back to 3rd, which tells me that she was just beaten by a better one on the day. And, if you look at her form previous to that, a nice win on debut and a good 3rd. So she's got the form to sort of tell me that she's the right sort of type of horse. Will get the wet. That's been proven, which is a positive. Out to 1,400, I think that's where she needs to go at this stage of her prep. Her last 3 runs have been at 1,300. And from the draw from barrier 6, they can have a couple of options there where they can push forward and sit outside the lead, or they can go maybe 3 pairs back. I'm suggesting she'll probably sit 1 out, 1 back, 1 out, 2 back, something like that. So I think she'll get a really good run there. And as I said, it's the type of horse that can win one of these sort of races where there's not much between first and the bottom weight either.
Yep, no worries. That's race 3, Miss Layla at $10 and $3.80. What do you got next?
In race 6, we've got in the straight 6. It can be tricky races, these straight 6s, but I think I've found one that can definitely win. Obviously, want to look for horses that have run up the straight before and run well up the straight. I've found one in Haunted, number 6, at $6 on each way price. It's a horse that's run well up the straight. It's 1 up the straight and a couple of placings there as well. All its best form's been at 1,200 and all its best form's been on a wet track as well. Got outstanding starts, 10 goes, 4 wins and 5 minor placings. So it'll be there or thereabouts. Ollie on board. They just pushed it forward last time. Likes to get back and they just rode upside down. So, and then the start before that, beaten a length by Diamond Effort, who's flying. And then before that was beaten a length in a bit by Fabergino, who's also flying. So I think they've got the form on the board that so far this prep. You can forgive last start. Like I said, we'll get the straight, likes this trip and likes the wet. So big tick from that. I'm probably most confident in Haunted as my best bet for the day at Flemington.
That's race 6, Haunted at $6 and $2.40. All right, next up.
Yeah, race 7. I'm backing up again on Duke of Plumpton. It was the one that got scratched last week, but you can probably copy and paste my comments from last week. Flemington's absolutely the right track. Out to 1,800, which I think is a plus. Form stands up through Shot of Irish. Egan back on board, which is a big plus. Egan and Payne got an outstanding strike rate. So I think he just ticks the right boxes. Hopefully gets a bit of luck from barrier 2. That's the only thing that will have him beat, and that's my next best. Pretty confident Duke of Plumpton can win this week as well.
That's Duke of Plumpton at $3.40. And lastly,
yeah, race 9 in the Get Out Stakes. I found a progressive gelding here. I really like the way he's gone about his business in the last prep, and his first run back in this prep is called The Astrologist, number 11, for the Tony McAvoy yard. He, like I said, great prep last time in with a couple of wins in a second, and that second was to Rubisaki. I think that form holds up pretty strong. It then was sent out for a break 46 weeks, but come back and won a trial and then ran a very, very good third on the heavy track, first up at Caulfield. So got well back there. I don't suggest he'll probably get as far back this time. Stepping out to 1100 is a big tick. Wide barrier up the straight, which is a big tick as well, especially in race 9. I think they'll probably be going wide, especially if it's a wet track. And like I said, he'll get the wet, and I think he's just a really good horse, and I think he'll go on to a lot better races than this in future.
Righto, so that is race 9, The Astrologist. And the roundup, race 3, Miss Layla at around $10. Race 6, Haunted at $6. Race 7, Duke of Plumpton at $3.40. And last but not least, race 9, The Astrologist at $4.60. Thanks, Lee. Now I'll have a chat about Eagle Farm. We're back to the farm this weekend in Brisbane, and even though there's been a bit of rain around, it drains obviously quite well there, and we're going to probably be on a good 4 at the very worst. My best bet is race 6, Isotope at $2.30. I think this is a 3-horse race, with 2 of them being Rockfire and Wild Ruler, and most likely they'll punch forward and try and lead and hopefully stuff each other up, and Isotope will sit nicely in behind them. She's shown her versatility before doing that. Golan's given her a touch of a break, but given her a couple of jump outs just to get her ticking over. And I don't feel the 1200 is any problem based on her breeding. So that's race 6, best bet, Isotope, $2.30. Next best is race 4, and today's the day for Red Stina to finally win, because she's 480. She's always the flashing light run every week, just misses. I've watched the form races and obviously thought the best was Tokariki Ladd's race on that tight doom track. The punters didn't want her that day. Red Stina, she was 5 out to $11 because of the bias, but she motored home and just missed by about 0.1 of a length. Back to the bigger track at the farm. There's one at the track in the distance, and Steph Thornton goes really well with this mare. There might be a couple of scratchings there, which will mean that she won't have to go wider again, and hopefully keep the connection some hair, because they've been pulling it out this prep because she's been banging on the door. So that's race 4, Red Stina at $4.80. And my best value, even though it doesn't meet Adam's standard, but my best value is race 2, Reckless Choice at $7.50 and $2.40. First up, record doesn't read well on paper, but the O'Day team has him going very well, going off that last trial. Runs well at the farm, even though 1400 is not his distance. Has run 0.8 of a length, second to Deep Image in November last year. Can carry the big weight, and at that price, I'm willing to have a go. Around the grounds, Newcastle race 6, Pitjara, I'm expecting $2. Was black booked off the debut, ran 4th to 3wood and Stolen Jade, which they both won again. The next start was $2.30, pumped in and stood in the gates famously. Admittedly, was very stiff on that occasion, but since trialled beautifully and should be a short price favourite and probably just winning. Any others, boys?
Nothing for me, thank you, mate.
For me, I've got in race 1 at Belmont, number 3, Float Our Boat. It's at $10. Looks a good horse. It's run 3/4 so far this time in, but it gets blinkers first time. It's owned by the trainer. I think something unusual about it is it's blew out in the market last 2 starts. This time it was $11 and crunched into $8 straight after opening, which tells me they're a bit more confident now. Should get a nice run just off speed, and there's a bunch of horses in this that just have had plenty of goes and just can't get a win. So $10, I'm happy to back it each way.
Yep, that's race 1 in Belmont, Float Our Boat at $9.50. Well, lads, thanks very much for this weekend. There's no Group 1, but I'm sure we'll all be watching the Victory Stakes in Brisbane, and I feel like Vega 1 or Kementari or one of those might pop up. I like Deep Image, but not willing to back anything with not much time left. Any thoughts on that?
I agree, mate, with Vega 1. I think this race they'll be keen to win. being a weight for age race. Oh, sorry, not weight for age, but set weights and penalties. Don't believe there's any penalty for the winner of this for the Stradbroke. So I'm pretty confident they'll have a good crack with Vega 1.
All right. Thanks very much, punters, and best of luck on the weekend. Please join us next week. Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and get involved in the comments. Best of luck and happy punting.
Can he do it? Chautauqua, he's flying. Yes, there's history.
But a champion becomes a legend. Makoni Devers won it. The pride of Australia is the greatest show on earth.